All right, have and have not fans, here we are. Another week has begun. January the 14th right now when I'm recording this. It is about 2:30 a.m. in the morning. And I have to say real quick, don't worry, this won't be a lengthy intro at all. Just thank you to everyone for joining in the live stream yesterday night or Sunday night over the past few days. It's no secret that YouTube has been messing up the notification system for live streams. You'll see several live streams on the page that were only 5 to 15 minutes long and only maybe a handful of people joined in. But as soon as I cut on the live stream around 10:30 or 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, we had about 60 to 100 people on the live stream the entire time. So once again, thank you for that. And because of that live stream, we actually had a great idea about the possibility of Katheryn Cryer going to jail. That was a big subject we talked about for quite some time in the live. And I talked a little about a theory. I was thinking out loud, what if Gia is the reason that Katheryn gets behind bars? Now, let me just put it this way. I think it's pretty obvious that if Katheryn is to go to jail this season or in season 7, it's safe to say the most likely reason for her to go to jail would be because of her murdering Jennifer Salison. But for this particular situation, let's put that on the bench for right now. There is another theory that might actually happen in the show and explain why Katheryn goes to jail. Now, I might do a separate video on this still. It's on my to-do list, but I feel like a lot of fans, including myself, feel the same way when it comes to Katheryn Cryer's personality in regards of how she was acting in the last episode. Now, I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy it. I think it was pretty fun and fresh to see Katheryn Cryer acting the way she is, because to be honest, she's not really acting any differently than other characters like Jim and Veronica and Candace. But I feel we are late in the show. There are way too many things that need to be handled first before she just displays this carefree attitude. So the way she's acting now, when she's like, oh well, Jim, you ought to do something about that, I wonder if she's going to have that same energy if she ends up in court, if she ends up in jail. Like, will she be thinking about, well, you know what, instead of having threesomes and then acting like I don't want to talk to Jim and everything, maybe I should have been, more proactive in finding a way to get off the charges for Jennifer Salison. That's one thing that's been annoying me ever since she murdered Jennifer. There's been a severe inconsistency in Katheryn's character, but that doesn't take away from the fact that she's still one of my favorite characters. Renee Lawless does a fantastic job with the character. I'm really talking about the writing for the character. That's what I mean by that. And there was something interesting about the scene between her, Broderick, and Rocky in the last episode. She somehow knew about Candace, putting the hurt on Rocky with that golf club. And there are two possible ways that could happen. Number one, off screen, the time between when Rocky got the phone call from Broderick to come up to the room and when he actually got there, Broderick was telling Katheryn some of the things that he knows about Candace. And maybe one of those things was the beatdown. Or because if I'm not mistaken, when Rocky came into the room, Broderick was just laying on Katheryn's chest, and then, they probably had pillow talk there. Or the other alternative is Gia told Katheryn about what was going on. We do know that Gia is an informant working for the DA's office, so I don't know if Katheryn has any strings on Gia. But I think the title of this video will be, will Gia be the one that puts Katheryn behind bars? Because here's how I look at it. Gia is an informant. We know that much. Trying to pin down evidence on the prostitution ring, thinking that Jim Cryer has something to do with it, but also evidence that will put Candace away from the Quincy Maxwell murder. Gia has seen and heard a lot. She's pretty much in a circle with Rocky, RK, possibly Broderick, even though we haven't seen them on screen together. But and not to mention, she knows of Rico, that pimp that Candace is kind of like, a rival to. But keep in mind that Jim knows everything there is to know about Gia, who she is, what she does now. But the strange thing is, we haven't seen Gia since that episode where Benny found the $45,000 covered in blood in Candace's room. And when she got slapped for having sex with her brother after she told him not to. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the last time we saw Gia. Now, the reason I'm bringing Gia and Katheryn into this scenario together is because do you think it is possible? And I think I did a video a few days ago about is Broderick still scheming against Katheryn? And in that video, I'm talking about the fact that she threatened to deport them both, which is not something that they take lightly. Like for now, they'll do exactly what Katheryn says because both of them, well, Rocky specifically wants revenge on Candace. But at the same time, I feel like Broderick being Broderick, remember going back to this time last year, Broderick in one of his first scenes was talking with Rocky about how he plans to have Katheryn wrapped around his finger. And remember, Broderick, I feel like Broderick is the Candace of the two. Like Candace and Benny and Rocky and Broderick, you know, you have a dreamer like Rocky and Benny who just want the simple life, so to speak. Hear me out. This is a good comparison where, you know, they don't mind a steady income, so to speak. You know, with Rocky, it's like the prostitution ring is going well, but then you have Broderick who is tired of these table scraps and wants to move up in life. He wants to come up, you know, so he wants to get on the fast track by hanging with the big dogs, aka Katheryn Cryer, so to speak, someone with a lot of money. And because of that, it's like, man, if this works out, we won't even have to do this prostitution ring anymore. But then Rocky is the one who's a bit, I guess you could say, hesitant, because look, if you try to go after her and it messes up, this can blow up an entire operation. So you have one who thinks big, the other thinks small. Same thing with Candace and Benny, where you have Candace who just goes after these humongous amounts of money via blackmail versus Benny who just wanted a tow truck and a tow company someday. So I feel like the parallel is actually, the comparison actually makes sense there. But for me, I feel Rocky will pretty much stay in disagreement with whatever Katheryn wants. You know, I'll do what's needed in order to put Candace down and to avoid you speaking with, you know, the government or whatever to screw up my visa and have me sent back to England. And Broderick pretty much is going to be pissed because not only is he not having Katheryn Cryer to himself, but he's not the one in control of this situation. Kind of like with the Candace Charles thing where everything was hunky-dory with Charles because Candace felt she was controlling everything. But as soon as the truth came out that he knew everything there is to know about her, even before they first had their conversation in the restaurant, well, excuse me, the dining area of the hotel, that's when she became unattracted to him. And now you have Broderick in a similar situation, but Broderick was the one that ran his damn mouth, and that really was stupid. But either way, you know, it's the writing, not the actor. So for me personally, I feel like Broderick might try to find a way out of this because let's put it this way. Gia, what exactly can she do to Candace at this point? Now, one could argue that, well, we know about this chick who's been hanging with Candace, you know, Gia, maybe she knows something because remember, Katheryn's trying to get everything she can on Candace in order to bring her down. Similar to how that FBI agent was talking to his partner saying, hey, look at everybody in her circle and make them, and we're just going to shake them until they break to get all the dirt we can on Veronica so we can pin her to the wall, nail her to the wall. Same thing with Candace. You know, Katheryn's trying to get everyone from her circle that she can to spill their guts. That way Candace can be put behind bars. So really, this is a season where we're seeing a lot of characters who were typically on the sidelines actually taking these proactive roles in order to bring down some of the baddest bitches on the show. But the one thing to remember is that currently we have Candace as the potential first lady for the president-elect Charles. So we're looking at a Candace who's surrounded by powerful individuals who have more resources and authority than anything that Jim, Veronica, David, and Katheryn can, you know, muster, even put together. So even though they're trying to form some sort of war chest, if you will, in order to combat Candace, there's nothing much they can do due to the fact that they know Candace is pretty much untouchable at this point. Oh, excuse me. They have yet to know that Candace is untouchable at this point. My question is this. We know that Charles is at the hospital right now, with the news story being that he's visiting children, sick children, even though we know it's to support Candace as she visits her brother. One could imagine that it is possible that Charles and Candace may actually be on the news together, and I'm pretty sure that's going to turn some heads. Now, one thing I really want to talk about is the fact that Gia might be the key to everything, and the reason I say that is, yes, we know Sarah has a lot of dirt, if you will, but the question is whether or not, without any incriminating evidence, will she be able to testify, tell why she took the bullets, and have that be the reason that Jim lands in jail? We do not know this for sure, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, one thing I do want to mention is with Gia, I think it goes back to Rocky knowing that Gia is involved with Candace, basically knowing a lot of things about her, pretty much because, yeah, you know, this is a terrible English accent. Yeah, there's this girl named Gia. She was like shadowing Candace when she was a pimp here. So maybe she knows something. Now, you can imagine that it is possible that Gia will be brought to Katheryn, hopefully not for a foursome, and tell everything she knows about Candace. Or maybe Jim gets to her first and they all come in the room and just talk about everything they know. And, you know, tries to pin down the information that she can with Candace. But then the news comes out that, oh man, Candace Young is with the future president. So Gia is probably not going to be able to do anything else towards Candace, because remember, Charles said that the floor they're currently on in the hotel and the 2 floors below them, I believe, or the one above it, the one below it, basically the floor they're on and then the next neighboring floors are pretty much sealed off by Secret Service. Nobody can touch them or get close to them. So I doubt Gia will have any ability to get close to Candace. So the person that she's an informant for will figure that, you know what, you're useless, get out of here. And then maybe she'll think about, you know what, I can't get to Candace Young, but what if I got you some intel on Katheryn Cryer? Can you imagine that if George is possibly somebody Gia talks to, and then goes about talking about, well, I know you said you wanted to get Candace for the Quincy Maxwell murder, but you have been talking about Jim Cryer and Katheryn Cryer. What if I got something on them about murdering Jennifer Salison, or maybe even the prostitution ring? So then Rocky and Broderick take it upon themselves to think about how they can get Katheryn put behind bars. That way they don't have to worry about being deported, because really Katheryn's plan will flip on her, where she's going to be the one behind bars and won't be able to get out. So I could see a situation where maybe somehow photos are taken with, you know, Broderick and Rocky in bed with Katheryn, and then they'll say that, you know, it was a situation where they were being sexually harassed because Katheryn Cryer was the one that was running the prostitution ring. Here's the photos to prove it. We have witnesses, you know, Gia's an informant, so she has intel on it as well. I think it is very possible that the situation could be reversed, where because Gia is unable to seal the deal with the Candace Young information, because really this is all about, because what she told that one guy, you know, when it was revealed she was an informant, look, I can do this, because really for her, this is an opportunity to step up in the ranks, I'm guessing, and to make a name for herself. So the next best thing is, you know what, if I can't get the whore who's running the prostitution ring, if I can't get the whore in the hotel who's said to be connected to the Quincy Maxwell murder, why not do the next best thing, which is bringing down the entire prostitution ring by having the story being one of the biggest shareholders in the hotel being the one that runs it. So I do think it is very possible that Gia might be a key in putting Katheryn behind bars with some assistance from Broderick and Rocky. Now think of it this way. With a little direction from Candace, they were able to get the pictures and everything from Oscar in order to get the account numbers to take Wyatt's inheritance. So I can imagine it will be a simple operation to get the necessary, you know, cameras and evidence in order to pin the prostitution ring on Katheryn. They would have to be very careful though, because Katheryn Cryer is not one to trifle with. We've seen what she can do with guns and knives. I'm just going to leave it at that. But with that being said, folks, what do you think of this theory? Do you think it is possible that Gia, a character we haven't seen for a few episodes, might be the key character in putting Katheryn behind bars? And I would hate for this to happen, but number one, Katheryn did murder someone. Number two, Katheryn is acting extremely out of character. Number three, based on number two, her character just being all over the place, the fact that she's being so reckless at this point, while I guess you could say exerting her power, isn't a good combination, because she is going to be living it up for a while. And I said this in videos made early last year. Jim is going to make things extremely easy for Broderick, you know, assuming things would have kept going the way they were, where Broderick was, you know, flirting with Katheryn and putting the moves on her before basically explaining everything there is to know about the prostitution ring. I feel like, you know, Jim being an asshole and pushing Katheryn away and then getting jealous would make it easier for Broderick to do what he wants. But then we find out that Katheryn always knew he was an illegal immigrant, but at the same time, you know, she was going along with it. So really, Katheryn was pulling a Charles when it comes to Broderick. Now, I think this is an interesting theory. I hope Katheryn will open her eyes before she is in a cell when they close the door to it. But I don't know, guys. It goes back to what I always say with these characters. Some of my favorite characters are written to make the dumbest mistakes leading to their downfall, whether it's defeat, jail, or being killed off. So let me know what you think. Do you think it's possible that Gia is the reason Katheryn Cryer ends up behind bars at some point in the series? We do know that Marty is coming back for several episodes, I believe this season or next season, and he is the Cryer's lawyer. Now, one could argue that he's in there for Wyatt, but you can also associate him with Jim and Katheryn as well. But let me know your thoughts on this. And once again, to end this video, thank you all so much. On yesterday, January the 13th, we hit 60,000 subscribers. This is another big milestone for the channel. Like I said before, if you are listening to this video, and I should have said this in my videos that have gotten like 10,000, 20,000 views already, if you can do me one favor, number one, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. We're gunning for 100,000. Number two, if you have social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever, Instagram, please tell people about this channel. It's only a matter of getting at least one person to subscribe. I mean, we have 60,000 people on this channel. If everybody got at least one person to subscribe, that's all it takes. It doesn't cost you a dime. I'm not asking for any money. I just want to hit 100,000 subscribers. So with that being said, folks, let me go ahead and close this video out because I have a few more I want to record before I hit the sheets today. But also, if you are in an area where it's snow and ice in Virginia, where I'm at, the snow and everything stopped a while ago. It's mostly just sleet and freezing rain. It's going to be frozen over for a while, so be careful out there. I'm definitely not going out for a few days. I'm going to let this stuff melt. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week. And get ready for Tuesday night, Battle for the Past. I cannot wait for that hospital scene where we have Candace and Charles sitting across from Derek and Hannah. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that thumbs up button as well as leaving your thoughts in the comment section below so we can keep the conversation going. On the left hand side of the screen, you should see a picture of Jeffrey Harrington. You can click on him in order to subscribe, but also hit the bell notification icon. That way you don't miss out on any new content. Also, you should see some videos appearing on the screen as well that I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy if you enjoyed the one you just saw. But also, be sure to follow me on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links to all my social media will be in the description below. And in order to help this channel hit 100,000 subscribers, I'm going to need your help. So make sure to share this video as well as the channel around with all of your friends on your own social media. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next video.